Here we go. Week two. I'm going to update this and I'm going to call it the data in the feels because I feel like that's what this really is. It's the data in the feels on my journey to becoming the best motivational speaker in the world. And I really wanted to record these outside. And I went outside again today because I have this Saturday morning routine. I get up in the morning, I go for a walk, I start the laundry, I get the grocery list going, and sit outside because I love being outside, but I cannot stop getting bit by mosquitoes. So I came in here to my desk to be with you here. And this is probably where I'll record these each week because it's just easier. What I want to do is I want to break this down each week into three parts. The first part is business. The second part is speaking update, just where I'm at on speaking. And then the third part is life. And the reason I want to do all three of these things is because when I was coming up in business as a young woman, as a mother, I didn't have examples of other women that were trying to accomplish all the same things that I was trying to accomplish, and also had just the pulls of the other roles in my life. And so I just want to be able to share all three of those things, whatever I can do to help in all of those categories. It's funny, when I went through the branding exercise with my marketing team, they said the thing that I do is I break down all the confines, these compartmentalizations that we do of, okay, here I'm a business leader, here I'm a mom, here I'm a, like, it's all happening all at the same time. And what hasn't served me as someone coming up in business is pretending like those other parts don't exist. It's not helpful. So I'm hoping to help in a little bit different kind of a way. So first thing I want to cover is the data. So the data that I did this week, I made 20 proactive calls this week. I opened $45,000 in business and I booked one new talk this week. So that's really great. I had told myself this story that I wasn't going to be able to get revenue from this venture until 2027 because people aren't, they're booking for next year. They're not booking their talks now. That's just not true, it turns out. So the story I was telling myself was that I wasn't going to be able to hit the ground running with this. And actually, the opposite is true. So that's really great news. The other thing about the business is I am a solopreneur, and many people I know are solopreneurs. What that means is that we are running our businesses by ourselves. But what's interesting is that every single business, whether there's one person in the business or there's 3,000 people in the business, the seats are the same at the top. You've got that top visionary type leader who's saying, this is where we're going to go, and this is what I see, and this is why I think this is important in the world. You've got that number two person who's going to bring that down to the ground, and they're going to make sure that there's like a solid plan, like the how. So like the why and then the how. And then you've got marketing. You've got to attract new business. You've got sales. You've got to close on that business. You've got operations. You've got to deliver the products and services. And then you've got finance where you got to account for it all. Well, when you're a solopreneur, you're doing all of that. And so what I did this week, part of my working on the business, because there's always working in it. That's like my proactive calls. That's me delivering content. Then there's on it, which is me actually working to improve the business, get processes down. And so what I did this week is I broke down all of those seats, and then I have time scheduled on my calendar each week, blocks of time to sit in those seats and get that work done. So what's been great about that is I've been able to, as things come up during the week, I've been able to shove those topics or those to-dos or those things I need to solve into those buckets. Oh, that's an operations thing. I'm gonna bump that into the operations bucket. That's a marketing thing. I'm gonna bump that into my marketing bucket. That's a finance thing. I'm gonna bump that into my finance bucket. What that does is it keeps my to-do list much smaller because it is a to-do, but it's not for today. It's for when I get to that part of my week. And so what I've done is I've assigned all of that work to that time. And what's so beautiful about that is that when I get to those hours, I've got this list waiting for me of stuff I need to tackle. So I'm just going to prioritize it at that time, and I'm going to tackle it one thing at a time. The other beautiful part about this is if I don't schedule and protect my time this way, people will call me and they'll say, I want to have a meeting, or I want to schedule a meeting with them. And then what I do is I eat into all of my working on the business time. And then I think, God, if only I had time to just sit and have focused time to work on it. Well, I do, but I have to create it. So I've got a system to make sure that that happens every single week, just like I have other systems. If you want to succeed in anything, you've got to have a system that's got you set up for that success. And it's been beautiful. The other thing I did this week is I tracked my time in each seat and each thing that I was doing. How much time did I spend in these various areas of the business? Just for a couple of reasons. One, I want to know, am I balancing out my time? The other thing that I want to know is, where is the first place that I need to hire? Like, it's very evident to me the first people that I need to hire, and I've already done it this week, is some marketing people. I need some help with that. So when I'm tracking my time and my seats as I go, it will make it easier and easier for me to know, who do I need to hire next? Because the only way that I can grow and get better is to get the help and the support that I need. But I'm not going to do that until I have the revenue to support that, which is why I got to make sure that I'm spending enough time in the sales seat, being proactive, and making business happen. Speaking update, having 4 upcoming events is really helpful. That helps me refine what I think I want to talk about. But each of those are going to be a little bit different, because I'm not selling my signature talk yet, the talk that I hope that I can give over and over and over again everywhere I go. And that's the talk that I get hired for. So right now, people are hiring me. They know my story, they know my background, and they think that they know the impact I can have on their audience. So I'm creating custom talks for each of those situations, which is fine. But my ultimate goal is to have a signature talk that I customize for those audiences, but really it's the signature talk that I give almost the same way every time, that's just customized for their audience. So this week, I just worked on, really, what is my signature talk going to be? What's my target audience for that? What is the message? And I'm just continuing to hone and refine that. And I was trying to get creative this week about, like, how can I get your help? Like, reflect back to me. I can do this so easily for other people. You start talking to me and I know exactly what your talk should be about. And I know exactly how to get the stories out of you and reflect them back to you and put it together and organize it. I'm inside the jar, having trouble reading the label. So it's always helpful for me when other people reflect back to me, what do they think that it might be about based on their experiences or stories of me, which is why I'm attending this 6-month long training to try to get help to pull that out of me. But I also value very much the feedback from you. I could talk about business concepts. One of the ideas that I had this week is that profit loves purpose, and really understanding that when you're crystal clear about your purpose, everything else follows, and these two things aren't mutually exclusive. And I really feel passionate about that. But do I feel so passionate about it that I want that to be my signature talk? My experience is both in having deep purpose and trying to run a profitable business. But is that really where I want to spend my time? I don't know. So I just spent some time shaping that this week, and then not having a conclusion on it. And I look forward to 6 months from now to having that all mapped out. And then there's never a time that it's like completely done, right? I'm going to get on stages and then it's going to get refined. And then I'm going to work on another signature talk. So I'm enjoying the process. I think the most important thing about everything I've said so far is I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying getting there. I'm enjoying getting the work done. I enjoy the process of getting to where I'm trying to go, because I know that it's about who I get to become. And as I'm sitting and doing the work and figuring this out, I'm growing. I can feel things growing in my head and in my soul as I try to figure this out. So just enjoying the journey of coming in and working on it every day. I love it. It just makes me super happy. Third part, life update. So in my life, everything feels like it's in balance. I actually, after showing you my scorecard last week, updated my scorecard. I put it into Claude so that maybe I wasn't working quite so hard and rewriting it every single week. So this week I had Claude update it so that all I had to do were these simple check marks that said the same thing. So in my foundation, which is my spiritual, my workouts, my time with my family, my deep connection with my husband, my deep connection with my kids, and then on the other side, I have my purpose, which is my work. I feel like I'm here to create something amazing in this world. Not amazing so that it sparkles, but amazing in terms of it makes me feel great because I'm helping people. I'm having an impact. And so my purpose is my work. And so I'm just tracking, making sure that I'm spending the time in the areas and doing the things I said I was going to do. My genetic encoding is to create new ideas, to inspire, to influence, to bring things out into the world, not to sit down and do the same thing over and over and over again, not to sit down and create systems and processes. That's not my genetic encoding. But because I'm a solopreneur, I have to do those things. And so this is my way to make sure that I do the things that I'm not genetically encoded to do. And those are the things that I track. I don't have to track the other things because I'm going to automatically do those other things. So those are the things that I measured this week. And anyways, back to where I started, which is my life. I'm feeling very balanced in my life. My health is really great. I'm using Hume, Hume is the band that I'm using right now. And it says that I'm actually reversing the aging process. So that's really great. Maybe I won't have to do Botox anymore. Just kidding. I do still need to do it. And I haven't done it in a really long time. And it's very noticeable right here. It's fine. Everything's fine. I feel very grateful for my family this week. Everybody's working together really well to get all the things done that need to be done. My hero of a husband who is just awesome. We had a girls' night last night, and he and my son made it very special for us. It was great. My sister-in-law and my niece came over, and we had a paint by numbers that she brought over, which was super fun. So we spent the evening doing that, and the guys made it very special for us, and I really appreciate that. And everybody's doing their part around the house. I have a whiteboard in my kitchen that has all of the meals for the week, which everybody contributes to. So I ask everyone to please send me what they're going to cook this week because everybody contributes to cooking. Everyone contributes to cleaning up. Everyone contributes to the shopping and putting things away. But I'm kind of the leader of that. I organize all of that and it all goes up on a whiteboard. It's summertime, which means everyone's home. And so I worked 40 hours this week. I'm tracking my time. I mentioned that earlier. I'll get in a total of 40 hours this week. That to me is not enough to build a business for a startup. So I'm grateful that the time that I've had has been extremely productive and high quality. It's kind of like my sleep score on my Hume, where it's like you're not quite getting enough sleep, but your sleep is so good. Like my sleep is like at 96% or something that it's making up for it. And I feel like the same thing is happening with how I'm scheduling my time and what I'm doing with it. But I feel like I need more hours. But I also recognize it's a season. It's summer. My kids are home. My daughter's about to go off to college. My son's about to start his freshman year in high school. I'm certain that on my deathbed, I'm not going to be like, I'm really glad that in week 2 of building my speaking business that I worked 60 hours. It's not going to be about that. It's going to be about paint by numbers and the super cool 90s playlist that my daughter found for us while we sat there and painted for hours together and just laughed and told stories. So that's my week 2. My focus for next week is to do it all over again. Exactly the same way I did it this week. Nothing special, nothing exciting. Make my proactive calls. I've already got my list laid out for who I'm calling, including follow-ups from this week. And then just to continue to get the work done. My friend Scott sent me over this podcast, and I want to share it with you here. It's Craig Burchell, and he's speaking at the Global Leader Summit. And what he's talking about is what makes an extraordinary leader. And it's so powerful because the secret, I'll tell you now, but you got to listen to it, is the boring. It's the boring stuff. And so I am looking forward to another week of boring. And it's funny because he tells a story about flossing his teeth. And I shared with my friend Scott, I almost did a talk once called, But Did You Floss Your Teeth? And the reason I was going to do that is because flossing my teeth is a leading indicator of how healthy everything in my life is. And so he tells a story about flossing his teeth. And I thought, oh my gosh, I never gave that talk. And I couldn't have given it nearly as good as what he did. He's such a powerful and inspiring speaker. So check that out this week. That's the content for the week. And I hope that you sit down, reflect on your week, get intentional about what you've got coming up in this next week, and execute and enjoy the process. That's what we're here to do. All right. Have a great week.